2 Uncle Hans videos in a week? Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, it's the end of the month. We gotta do there's a big haul that I haven't recorded on my website or whatever, and we just have to get through it. So we're gonna probably speed through a lot of these, just because, what? Producer Tara, how many games do you, just ballpark, like 20?
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot, okay. So, let's just go right through it, starting with Half-Life Platinum Collection. Now, I already have an issue with this. It doesn't include Blue Shift. It comes with Half-Life, Opposing Force, Counter-Strike, and Team Fortress, but no Blue Shift. Now, Producer Tara, do you know what Blue Shift is?
No.
Okay, well, so Half-Life came out, was a huge success, as you know, right? Okay, well, we got that far. So the first expansion pack was Opposing Force. So in Half-Life you play as Gordon Freeman and you're in the Black Mesa facility, yada yada yada. And so in Opposing Force you play as I forget the guy's name, but you basically play the same incident from a different perspective. You play as the soldiers coming in to clean up the mess, and then you realize there's, bullshit. And then in Blue Shift, you play from another perspective of the same mess, as one of the security guards, Barney. But what's really cool is so Half-Life was the first one, obviously, and so when you play like Opposing Force or Blue Shift, you see the same cutscenes from a different perspective. Like they did it intentionally to be like, look, and this is where this happened, but you're sitting over here now, which is really cool. Like even now, I don't think they really do that kind of thing now, where they like DLC bullshit and stuff. But yeah, big issue with the Platinum Collection doesn't include Blue Shift, because how is it the Platinum Collection if it doesn't have all of them? Isn't that just kind of weird? It's more like a multiplayer thing, because it has Team Fortress and Counter-Strike, which are only multiplayer like games. So maybe Blue Shift wasn't out by the time the Platinum Collection. But then why would, you know what? Let's just move on to the next game, because it's we've already spent too much time on this. Next game, Duke It Out in DC. Now. So Duke Nukem 3D had 3 expansion packs. They had Duke It Out in DC, Caribbean Lifes of Beach, and Nuclear Winter, and then everything else. Like I have Duke Zone, one of those shitty level packs. Did you, Producer Tara, did you ever play? Well, I guess you never played. You played Duke Nukem 3D before, right?
No, my brother.
Okay, well, like, because you can make your own levels. Like they include the editor with the game. Like Doom didn't, but but Duke did. So then there was all these like really shitty level packs of like people making it in their bedroom, uploading to the internet. And since the internet was kind of the Wild West back then, people would just like download a whole bunch of them and then ship them on a CD to sell, because why not? They don't. But then it ended up being I have Duke Zone somewhere. Oh, I think it's in storage, one of the totes. But it's like 500 levels, but they're all like, a level of just someone's house because they didn't know what else to model at the time. It's like, is it really 500? But the point is, Duke It Out in DC is made by an actual company. Like there was 3 expansion packs made by actual people, and so this is all focused on, obviously, Washington DC government buildings, and I think they include a new weapon, or am I thinking of Caribbean Lifes of Beach? But you have stuff like the Pentagon, you have the White House, you have, I think, Area 51, or like some underground like bunker government place. So anyways, I like Caribbean Lifes of Beach more, but I don't have it. But this is still pretty cool to have in box. Next game. We are not going fast through these, are we? Heretic. Now, so Heretic, have you ever played Heretic before, Producer Tara? So it's Doom engine, like literally the same engine as Doom. Like weapon is in the center. It's like everything's a sprite still and stuff, but it's all medieval themed. So you have, instead of like guns and rocket launchers and shit, you have wands and like magic and a whole bunch of other stuff, and gargoyles as enemies, and the screenshots are embarrassingly small. But yeah, it's super, and the super cool bonus. I'm gonna spoil this We might do an Uncle Hans's Big Box Emporium video, but just it opens like a book. Well, yeah, it's yeah, but it's just they went full out. Like, there's no other box I think that opens up because it like looks like, you know, an actual book, which is pretty cool. Which also makes it like if somebody was trying to, because there are like people who like make PC big boxes in the home and print them and sell them. There's no way they're gonna go through the trouble of making this, like the folding and why would they do that just for this one box? So it's good stuff. Next game? Oh. Age of Empires Gold Edition. Now, Producer Tara, have you ever played Age of Empires?
No, but I know it.
You know it?
Yeah.
See, I like the second one more. This is the first one, obviously. This is the first one and the Rise of Rome expansion. So I don't really know the first one as well. I know the second one really well. But I still think, like, this is like from the era of, like, you know, early 90s to like, late 90s to early 2000s, where like they didn't fully go into 3D yet, but their sprite art was like off the chain, where they're just like, well, we have higher resolution, we'll just have higher res sprites, and it was fucking awesome for a while, and then 3D happened, and then no one does 3D sprites anymore unless you're an indie game. This is in that era where just like everything looks, even you can tell like this is it's like super colorful and pretty, and these are all sprites. But yeah, I'd rather have the both boxes individually. Like, I'd probably get rid of this if I had both boxes, because obviously those are way prettier than this fucking gold monstrosity. Because I have that for Age of Empires 2 here. Like, I have Age of Kings and the Conquerors. So if I ever get like these two by themselves, I'm throwing this, or I'm selling it, whatever. But it's here nonetheless. Next game. You wanted more strategy games? Well, Yuris Revenge. Now, I don't actually have Red Alert 2. So I have it in some fashion, but I don't have the big box version of Red Alert 2. So it makes it kind of awkward to have the expansion without the original game. But Yuris Revenge is still super cool. Do you know, have you ever played Red Alert 2?
No.
Again, same era where like the sprites are just like really awesome because they're from that. But I think it's from 2001, 2002. So this is like right at the end of like the 2D sort of era of like major video games. So the sprites in here are fucking awesome. So like Yuri is this like mind control guy who influenced the Russians in the game to like do his bidding, and you know in Batman Forever, Enigma, like the Riddler, and how he had that thing which just mind controlled everyone via the TV. He had sort of the same plan here, except on a warfare scale. But yeah, look at the sprite art. It's super cool. Tara, Producer Tara, take a quick look.
That's really cool. It's really colorful.
It is really colorful. And then you could, and I think in Red Alert 2, you could also do things where like you could place units inside. So these are all like buildings, and I really liked how you could like put units in buildings to like as like a garrison. So you could find like civilian buildings and then just put up a whole bunch of like soldiers in there, and then they'll just shoot out of it when enemies come near it, which is super cool. Like that's a little cool touch. But I think you could put like any units you want. So you could put like rocket soldiers in there, and then rockets come out. Like there's a lot of like cool things they did. And then you could do things like you could blow up bridges and then make them go another way, and you could use engineers to fix the bridges. Anyways, really cool. So next game, actually had nothing to do with Yuris Revenge. That was in the base game. Next game. What? Another expansion pack? Well, you asked for it. Tiberian Sun Firestorm. Now, I've never actually had Well, I had Tiberian Sun, but I always had it with Firestorm, like Tiberian Sun Game of the Year Gold Edition, whatever. So I don't actually know the differences in this one. Like, I assume it's new units, and there's Kane. But I don't actually know what the differences are offhand. You get the Juggernauts, these Reaper things, spider units. What do you think of this guy? He looks like a Terminator with spider legs.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Or is this the mobile EMP? Oh, that would suck. So like you could have, I think in Tiberian Sun, you could have like what's called, I think it has the Fog of War machine. So basically, you could have something in the middle of your base that on the mini-map, on the enemy's mini-map, even if they uncover the whole map, it would still block everyone out. Like, it would still like show like a black spot, so you could plan and get units ready, and they'd have no idea. But you could use like a mobile EMP to shut down the enemy's base, and then everything is exposed. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't really know much about Firestorm because I always played it with Firestorm. But again, cool that I have the box because I have Tiberian Sun like by itself, so it's kind of like the Age of Empires thing where I have the different box for the expansion. I was talking while putting away, so I'm just not gonna edit it and go right to the next game, Generals. Now this apparently is a weird one because this was supposed to be a small box game in 2004, 2005, 2003. But as this little sticker says, this holographic EA sticker, it's actually from Asia Pacific. So I don't know how it got here because it came with the same lot that had like all the other strategy, Age of Empires and Command and Conquer and stuff. So either this guy ordered it from Asia early, or he was there and bought it while like there's some kind of story like worth why, because he's clearly not a collector if he just gave me all of his stuff, and he's clearly not a collector because he specifically had a genre of stuff. Like he's clearly like just a player of shit, like, and it was in his attic, whatever, right? But then how does he have this Generals box? And it is the box, it's not like the art block, because this is properly embossed, like, and people wouldn't fake that per se, right? And this holographic sticker is there for EA, and this is clearly not blown up because all the text is lined up and whatever, right? But isn't that weird? Like, this is supposed to be a small box. Like, I don't think I have this. I might have the small box somewhere, but just, it's weird. So, yeah, but cool to have. So, next game? Next game. Ultima Underworld. Now, this is one of the first, like, legitimate, like, first-person games where, or, like, first-person RPG game where you get thrown in a dungeon, you have to kind of crawl your way back up from talking to other people who are stuck there. Well, NPCs, not actual people. I don't actually know what's in this, so I guess, because I know the original version came with, like, a cloth map and everything, so I don't actually know if that's in here. So maybe I'll make another whole video on that. The thing about that is this is the version that's 5 1/4 discs. Now I only have one computer that has a 5 1/4 inch drive, so it's going to be a bit of a to-do to test this. And I think it's a 386. What does this need? Oh, it needs a 386 or 486. So, yeah. So when we test it, it's going to be, we're going to bring a thing out, get a CRT monitor, and because there's no laptop that has a 5 1/4 drive. I mean, no laptop I have. But yeah, it's super cool to have. It's one of those like prolific things, like Doom, sort of, where like it's just like one of the things that like shaped the whole thing, So next game. Alien Carnage, an Apogee game. This was super cool because everyone had the sharewares of these kinds of games, because this is like the era of like Monster Bash, Commander Keen, like all those type of things. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. She said yes. And so this is the same version. This is in the same realm, but it's like the full version of one of the games. So what's weird is I first knew about this game because there's a Halloween version called Halloween Harry, which is the guy's name. Like he looks literally like Duke Nukem, or the BJ Blazkowicz from like Wolfenstein or something, right? So and then I thought Alien Carnage was the sequel, but it's literally just the same game, just like different maps and stuff. But or maybe it is the same game. Either way, I knew that. No, I think Halloween Harry might have been the shareware, and this Alien Carnage is the full version. I don't know. Either way, it's just cool to have, like, you know, it's one of these games that wasn't at retail per se. It was like one of the mail order sort of things. So it's just neat to have. What do you think of these alien designs, Producer Tara? Think they're too on the nose?
Yeah. Back then it was probably creative.
And this guy looks like something you would draw.
Yeah, he's cute.
And this just looks like a zombie. And you do use a flamethrower as your main weapon the whole game, which is kind of cool. But you have to keep refilling it with fuel, which you get from coins from like, and you have to buy fuel from killing things. Like they drop coins that bounce around, kind of like the rings in Sonic. Next game. Jungle Pinball. Now, I really only got this is Jill the Jungle Pinball. But I only got this because I grew up with Epic Pinball, which was made by Digital Extremes as their first game. So, but there's no box version of that. It was only, there is a sort of boxed version, but it's not like this. It's something jankier, like greatest hits classics bullshit or something. And I don't want any of that kind of stuff. Like even having EA Classics version of like Command and Conquer, it just looks stupid. Like the gold around it and stuff. Like I'd rather just have this part. So this is the closest thing I could find because it's the same engine. Like it just the pinball tables are like the Jill the Jungle theme, but otherwise it's the Epic Pinball engine. So like, yeah, I just thought it was super cool. Just because that's the closest I'll probably get to having Epic Pinball while not having Epic Pinball. Because I think, well, remember in like, you used to be able to go to like Zellers or like Kmart or something, and you'd have these like racks of like floppy disks of like shareware versions. I think those are the or full versions. I think that's the only way you could get Epic Pinball for realsies. But no, they sold Jill Jungle Pinball in box. So again, if you see Epic Pinball, don't walk, run, pick it up. I'm talking to the producer checker. Next game? Thief the Dark Project. Now, have you ever played Thief before?
No.
So it's a medieval game, obviously, where it's like one of the early first-person stealth games. I mean, it's all 3D. But you have like different arrows. You have like fire arrows, ice arrows, or not arrows. I think you have water arrows. You have rope arrows. You can shoot a rope arrow and then climb the rope. It's all that kind of stuff, super cool. And then you have objectives like steal X from Y, but along the way you can like steal more things for like more points at the end to like up your rating, or like how often you're seen. And then you can like take out guards and then hide them, like all that kind of stuff. So super cool. Yeah, and it's just super like atmospheric and pretty because everything's dark and medieval. And then you have the guards going like, "Oh, what's that over there? Oh, it must be nothing." You know, like that kind of stuff. Or like doing things like walk in bushes but not on like bricks because you'll make more sound on the, you know, so it's super cool. And all the levels are like super huge, like they'll take like an hour. And they're just like I mean, towards the end they kind of start using monsters, and it's just, I don't really like that because like when they start using like zombies and they're like, "Oh, the zombie heard you." It's like, all right, I don't know how zombies work. Like in my head, I don't know what their stealth. Like I can guess what people can hear and see. I get that. But when they start using like four-legged dinosaurs, and you're like, can they smell me? I don't know. Like I don't like when those rules get mixed in. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's ways to get around them, obviously, but it gets a little weird. But it doesn't mean it. But it is really fun. Like. And I'm glad I have the regular edition, not the gold version, because the gold version has like 4 more maps or something, I think. But it also has like different box art and stuff. But so I'd rather have like the actual one, which is this one. And it's in super good. Considering this came out in like 1998, 7, this looks like brand new.
Yeah.
Can I get a brand new check on this?
Brand new?
Well, it's not sealed or it's not sealed or anything, but it looks really nice. Next game. Producer Tara, can you pronounce this?
No. Daikatana?
Perfect. That's exactly it. It's Daikatana. So this was John Romero's game, famously after he left id Software after he made Quake. So I have a whole book about it if you want to read it. But he just didn't like the atmosphere at id Software anymore. He's like, I'll make my own company. Is the too long didn't read. And this was like 4 years, like something ridiculous at the time, like 4 years in development, and then it turned out to be a half shitty game, and then shut down the company because he basically didn't prove himself. And then they also had like they had like a really like raunchy ad campaign. Remember 90s ads were just like the raunchiest stuff for like video games. Well, and like literally this game, they would say like, John, I have it in magazines somewhere, but it like the ads would be like, John Romero's about to make you his bitch, as like the ad, and it's like Daikatana with no screenshots. And you're just like, what the hell is this? And then yeah, it's just a first-person shooter game where you go through different time periods as like a time traveler, and basically has an excuse to have different settings while like changing weapons every time. And then you have a NPC called Superfly, because why not? And anyways, wow, 18 ear-numbing songs in MP3 format. Wow, MP3s. Yeah, but super good condition. It's kind of one of those like relic things, like it's cool to have just because the history of why it exists. And it's, again, this is like brand new almost. There's some like ripping here or stretching, whatever, but otherwise it looks pretty new, right? Next game? Tomb Raider Chronicles, the shittiest Tomb Raider. The only thing I know about this is I remember renting it at Microplay and then being like, well, this sucks. Like the first level sucks. Like this, you know when Insomniac Games made Spyro 3, and you can tell they were running out of ideas at the time, and then they rightfully just bailed out of the whole series, and then Spyro just got worse and worse and worse. They should have bailed out the game before, and this is like them still trying to like milk Tomb Raider. And then, because after this, they didn't make another one until like, well, actually, no, they made that shitty PS2 one where they had like the dude character. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Which was like, okay, now you've even sunk lower, because that one was even worse. So, because I think the good ones were like 1, 2, and 3. And then I think this came out for PS1 too. But like. You know, you can tell by that this looks like a straight to videos 90s action movie, like just by the back cover. Like she's even has like the Matrix gear on with the shades. Could we get a hashtag not my Lara?
Not my Lara.
Not my Lara. Was this before the movie or after? I'm guessing this would be before, like the Angelina Jolie movie. Pentium 2, yeah, it'd be well before. But it came as a group of things, so I guess it's cool to have. Comes with a level editor. Did anyone actually do that? Need for Speed, Porsche Unleashed. Now, I think this is I don't remember, because there's Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, which is like the peak at the time one. And then there's High Stakes after, like, which is technically Need for Speed 4. This is in between. I think this is the one where like Porsche just wanted a deal to make their own racing game, and they're like, we'll just get the Need for Speed, and we'll just reskin Need for Speed 3 or 4, and that's exactly what they did. Which is fine. Power to them. So it's this Porsche-related racing game on the Need for Speed engine, and it's exactly what I think. Not knocking Need for Speed, but I'd rather play Hot Pursuit with the cops and everything else than just drive Porsches. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm too wacky though. Maybe I'm not normal enough just to enjoy driving in a Porsche. Right? Producer Tara, if you had an option between a Porsche and a Lambo, what would you drive?
A red car.
Sorry, Porsche or Lamborghini? You have to answer. You can't just nod your head.
Lambo?
Why?
I don't know the difference between them, to be honest.
Okay, well, maybe we should silence that. But they'd both be red. Well, no, because Lambo has, like, you know, it has the shotgun doors where they go up, and...
Oh,
Alright, well, you know what? Forget I asked that. Okay. So, yeah. That's... Oh, I'm running out of room here. that's all the games. How many is that? Too many? How long has this video been so far, Tara?
Too long.
Okay. How do I end this? We'll see what we get next month, if anything.